I'm going to ask if you would turn off your devices on silent. And we're here today for the Historic Town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency agenda. I'm going to ask this. Today is Thursday, October the 13th at 17th. I'm sorry, 17th at 6:30 p.m. I'm going to ask the clerk to go on the roll call.
Okay. Director Chris. Present. Director Mack.
Here.
Director Daniels.
Oh,
Director Washington.
Chris.
Director Gardner. Here. Vice Chair Williams.
Here.
And Chair Randolph. Here. And Director, did I say Mack?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I call on that bench that.
Go ahead. Okay, let's all stand for the invocation. And then I have to pledge allegiance. Thank you. Pledge allegiance.
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're here for the selection of a candidate as the board decision for the executive director position. And I'm going to ask,
Yes. We have citizen participation.
I'm sorry, self participation. Anyone?
There was an email that was sent that I have been asked to read as part of public participation, sent by Climax. Well, Joyce Arby. Good evening, Mayor and Council, which means Chair and CRA Board. I humbly respect that you each have been selected with the honor by the people of the historic town of Eatonville and carry out a fiduciary duty to act in the best interest of the town and its people. Eatonville has a strife political history filled with misuse, misappropriation, poor judgment, and people lining their pockets and facilitating their friends and families at the expense of the people of Eatonville and our collective shared future. As a concerned private citizen and fourth generational member of this community, I have had the opportunity to look over the resumes of the candidates for the CRA position, which you are about to vote on. I was pleasantly surprised that there appears to be more than one qualified candidate. The town's history of political malpractice by former mayors and council members have been tragic. The behavior of a long line of administration and councils has been and remains spiritually violating to the people whose blood, sweat, foresight, and thoughtfulness embody an idea and made manifest on this sacred land a place of safety and opportunity for those who've been denied and considered less than simply based on the color of their skin. And throughout our town history, it seems politically that we, with the same skin, continue to work against each other. I am hoping today will be different. I'm hoping this will stop today. Eatonville has been like an abused child who keeps being handed over to the unknown molesting uncle over and over again. While those who know better look away or make excuses for this behavior. I'm asking you not to be those people. I'm asking you to do your duty, use your best judgment, and be your highest self to make sound business decisions in the best interest of the town and its citizens. And based on facts, evidence, and logic, not based on your personal friendship and preference. Respectfully, Joyce Arby. And that is the last citizen participation.
Right. Thank you very much. Before we start, I'd like to make a comment before the HR specialists come up. I'd like to say good evening to everyone here on the board. And then we're here to select a candidate for the position as executive director. Thank you. Each of us as directors have had the opportunity to review all the qualifications to make a fair and honest assessment. This is now going to be your opportunity here at this meeting today to make your final selection. Now I will turn this over to our HR specialist who will give us some direction in this process. Thank you.
Good evening, board.
Hello.
Please be advised, this is the final process of the selection process for the executive director position for the town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency. As you're aware, on Thursday, October 3rd, 2024, a special meeting was held for the purpose of providing an opportunity to interview available candidates. Due to last-minute changes, 2 candidates were not available. The remainder 4 out of the 6 were interviewed and given the opportunity to demonstrate their qualifications. No voting took place at this meeting. This will be an open process due to the sunshine. The chair will present names of all the interview candidates to the board members. Board members will be asked to cast their vote for the candidate of their choice. If any candidate gets 4 votes, that candidate will be selected by majority vote. If by chance there is a tie, the chair will present each tied candidate individually to be voted on by the board members. Board members will be selected, will select an executive director by majority vote. Chair?
Great, thank you. HR specialist, would you need the names, please, those candidates? All right, I have the names of the candidates, and I'm going to read these names in alphabetical order. Onyar Bates, alphabetical order. Second, Levon Bracy Davis. Number 3, Michael Johnson, pardon me. And number 4, Meredith Myers. As the chair, I will start with the first name in the alphabets, and that will be Onyar Bates. For those who are in favor of Onyar Bates, please signify by a vote.
Motion on the floor.
Pardon?
Motion on the floor.
A little motion on the floor. Thank you very much. Onyar Bates.
We need a second.
Yeah, it's an actual motion.
Okay, it's moving. Second, all those in favor? Signify voting aye. Aye.
All opposed?
Any opposed?
Nay.
Yeah.
Okay, next. Number 2, Levon Bracy Davis.
Then you have to put a motion.
We have a
You
motion
have
on
to
the floor.
continue putting a motion on the floor.
A motion,
Each one.
a motion for Davis. It was moved in second.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposers?
Nay.
For the record, chair, what was your vote?
Nay. Can I ask you to give me a count, please, on Bates and Davis? How many yeas and nays, please?
I have 2 yays, 5 nays for Bates. For Bracy Davis, I have 1 yea, and 6 nays.
All right. Mhm. Okay, next we have Michael Johnson.
For the
A motion for Michael Johnson.
So moved.
Has been moved and second. All those in favor?
Question.
Question?
And I have to just put this out. One of the candidates that I was very interested in is one of the ones that turned away. And I have no doubt in my mind that they turned away because they looked at some prior videos of this board's behavior. That's a shame, because I was ready to not go in a different direction, but just to see what else is out there. I was ready for that. What I don't think is fair, and I want to thank everyone who showed, like I have notes, I'm going to go by the notes because I think it's important. I want to thank everyone who showed interest in this position, because there were a lot of applicants. So that made me feel good. But again, to find out that the 2 dropped out was disheartening. And it brings me to my current concerns. If we hire someone new in that position, how are they going to do? And if we continue with the same foolishness that we have been known to do, then how long will they stay? You know, and if they leave, just like everyone else that has left, we're going to be in the same position over and over again. And that wouldn't be fair to them. That was in the way that the prior director was treated was embarrassing to me. So I know it's embarrassing to her. And I can't see any of the other 2 candidates that I would have been interested in being in that position. It's not fair to them. And then given that thought in the back of my mind, it tells me that reposting the position would bring us right back here again. That's not going to change it. And that leads me to share my final thoughts and concerns with the rehire. And that is this. If we listen to what some of the concerns have been placed on this floor, one of them was the RSM report. And even though we have gotten a final decision, we've gotten final findings on that, we still bring that up as though it's an issue, and it's no longer an issue. And I think that is a misuse of power, to keep misleading people into thinking that there is something wrong going on in the CRA. It came down to 2 things. We put 2 policies in place, one to cover when work is done, that we thoroughly, all the way to the end, documented it, and the other one is for special events. That's it. But we keep throwing out an RSM report, 34 findings, blah, 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 blah. But we need to be truthful to the residents, and that can be confirmed and documented, and it has already been documented. So to keep bringing it up as though it's a problem is only a ruse for you to think that you have some sort of justification. The other part was the payout. That has been investigated, and we've come down to a final decision by an investigator that found that and I have to put this on the record because we should not keep, even though I'm bringing it up, is hopefully to kill it. That was the fault of the people. Not a fault, you had a choice, you had a vote. You took a vote, you terminated, and then there was consequences with that termination. And that was not the fault of the employee. That was the bad decision. And so we need to stop bringing those 2 items up, because they've both been resolved by third parties, not by inside this town. Now that brings me to my own concerns. One is the relationships that have been built. I want to make certain, and I've already made, my own little research calls to make certain that our relationships that have been built are not sacrificed. And that was a concern, and that's no longer a concern. I also know that Main Street was developed and created by the town working with the CRA based on a Main Street agreement, that it will be used for the benefit of the town, and I want to see that happen. And I would give my vote if that board is replaced with the stakeholders in the town. I don't know who's on the board now, but Main Street would help. So the only way that I will be comfortable is the Main Street Board. I'm not talking about the overbranching, the overarching 501c3, but just that Main Street Board. And the other one is doing business in this town outside of the CRA. That there's an agreement that no work, and this should be in line, maybe attorney, you can help me. This should be in line with any other employment in any other municipality, that if you have a position in the town that you're not doing contractual work with entities that are tied in. I don't know the language there, but those are the two things that I would need to see. And that will parlay my concerns. And these are not concerns I have not brought up, I have. And I think it'll parlay some of the concerns that have been brought up outside of this board. But in regards to, emails and people continually putting others down, everyone has a right to work. Everyone has a right for grace. But to move forward without putting certain things in place to fix it would be ignorance on our part. And that's how I feel. I don't know how we do that, but that is the only way I would give a yes vote, is those two things would have to be fixed for me. Main Street, the board being reflective of either, probably not board members, but stakeholders may be chosen, and with the restriction.
If I may,
Oh, yeah, I don't know what the terminology would be. Yes.
if I may, my question would also be, as a concern, I think we need to go down the direction of, making this a, supersede in order to get rid or terminate or whatever it is that this board do not desire in this particular executive director, whoever it's gonna be, to get the supersede vote to either stay or not stay. Because if you do the majority vote, it's gonna, be another complex of how we do things in Eatonville. And I want to eliminate that by doing the supersede vote, which will consist of a higher vote than just a majority vote.
It's like supermajority,
Supermajority. Yeah.
or majority plus one or something.
Yeah, we have to change that in the bylaw. But that's, I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay.
I think that'd be something that'd be beneficial to the, CRA. That way we won't keep going down this direction of, firing someone if you get another administration or what have you. And that's gonna ease the minds of the people that will actually be sitting in that position also as the executive director, but they won't be sitting here sitting on eggshells while trying to perform the job. So that's all I got.
I think this hiring of this director, it should be not under contract. Basically, should be an employment status. I think with the contract status, that gave them the rights to do outside business or whatever. It's contractual, but you have staff employment. You can't do certain things as staff. Double dipping or whatever you want to call it. Other words, so I think it should be not a contract thing. It should be employment status, like it's always been. What we did have CRA director, so not no contractor service at all.
Chair, I'm sorry.
sorry.
I was gonna say something.
Yeah, I had a question. Attorney Jackson, have you had an opportunity to review the RSM report? Have you seen that?
I reviewed it, but not for the purposes of tonight.
Absolutely. In your opinion, the RSM report is just a report to show what you may have done wrong. So it's not an actual, you did this wrong and now we punish. It's just to say, hey, this is what our findings are, or what was done, whether it was right or wrong. And isn't it up to the agency to correct it? Just my question to you.
That would be a correct interpretation of the RSA.
Okay. And I just wanted to make that plain for the board that it's not the second party's job to correct whatever was done wrong. Their job is to find out what was done, was it done correctly, or what was your reasonings for it. And if you say, I added butter to a cake or whatever, the RSM says, well, you're not supposed to. So with your findings or what your responses does not negate what was done wrong. That's number one. Number two, I had a problem with the contract of the executive director at the moment that they were going to hire. I asked the attorney, had you had an opportunity, not Attorney Jackson, Attorney Perry, had you had an opportunity to review this person's contract? The attorney said, no, the board still approved that person's contract. Within that contract was a stipulation to get paid. If you were terminated, you get full pay. I thought that if you were terminated with cause, would negate anything about your contract. Apparently, for me, let me just say for me, it is not over for me because one signature does not give the person the authority to pay out. That's my only, and I've been asking for an investigation into that process, into the signing of that check with one signature. I had a problem with it. Even at the town's level, you need 2 signatures in order for a reimbursement of the Johnson Center. So how can a $71,000 check be paid out with 1 signature? That's why I've been asking for an investigation into the process. And that's where, but since the board member Gardner brought it up, that's where I am on this particular situation.
Let me ask this question, because this says about the check, and that's what I would ethics. That's what you guys took to ethics complaint and about that same check.
Hold
on.
Can you hold 1 second, please? I need to acknowledge, Chair Williams.
Just something quick. I would like for us, as a board and as a community, let's move forward. You know what I mean? Stop. We always in reverse. We're always in reverse. Ms. Gardner put it on, saying what she said. No contract, but we still talking about contract. We're not gonna do that. They're gonna be a Mr. Washington say you need to be a regular employee. You know what I mean? So that's what we're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Why do we keep staying in reverse? I don't like that. Let's move forward. You know what I mean? If we're gonna be the town that freedom built, let's move the train. You know what I'm saying? We keep in the weeds. We can't do nothing. You know what I mean? Because everybody, instead of if we supposed to be community oriented, let's be community oriented. You know what I'm saying? So we need to stop it.
Okay, that's the chair. I'm gonna bring it to everyone's attention. As the chair, we need to get through this process that we are in now. I really respect everything, and everyone has something that we really have, that we have some very genuine discussions that we can bring to the table, and we can work all of this out in a later date after we get through this process. I'm going to acknowledge Director Washington, and then from there, let's move on with this process.
I have a letter from the State Department and Ethics Board on their findings about that situation, about the interest of Director Daniels. I will make everybody copies of that letter showing the findings of the law of what people can and can't do. So, get that clear. That I went to the ethics complaint. I went to the ethics board. Whoever filed it, they filed it. So I'm not bringing their names up. But the thing is, it happens. I did what I had to do before. I didn't try to get the town to reimburse me any funds or my time or whatever. So I didn't get my attorney on this issue. But that was resolved about check signing, those things there. So let's make that clear for this board.
Okay, so all right, let's chair, let's go ahead and move on.
Okay.
But wait, but I need to know the 2 criteria. I mean, the Main Street issue, it needs to be resolved.
I think that needs to be in a different form. You can't bring something else to the table that's not.
That is relevant. We're here.
So once we approve it, then we.
I
just want to make certain.
We can always, after this process, we can always open up the floor
Yeah, that can be
to
handled.
discuss Yes, these are the agencies.
But we would still have to approve it based on that.
Well, that's up to everyone's individual. If you feel that, what you need to do as far as your vote for yea or nay for a particular candidate, that has no reflection upon what other
But we're
people.
voting for the hiring of that person now. And we're not on the same page, then
I understand what you're saying, but people have their own beliefs and their own ways of how they view things. We all don't view things the same. So it wouldn't make that big of an impact other than that's based upon you as an individual.
Attorney Jackson, would you please chime in? Because maybe I'm not understanding. Because I'm saying it should be a requirement, not a,
Agenda.
not something that I want. I'm asking that this board make that as one of the criteria. That is, I can't do it one person. I can't say, hey, we should, that won't work that way.
Well, you have the option as a director to vote yea or nay. So do I, and so does everyone else.
I don't think.
That's our choice.
I don't think.
So if you don't want that, then you vote according to what you feel is fair.
It can get done, but it can't get done tonight because we're in a
You
different
can't
setting.
make a person do what you want them to do.
So tonight we vote for the candidate, then we present the offer.
That's right. So yeah.
Got it. Okay, I'm good.
Yeah, but we need
According to the
to,
bylaws that we got within our,
we need to move on.
so.
Okay, we had a motion on the floor. We had a comment, we had a discussion. So all those in favor for Michael Johnson?
All right.
Aye. All those in favor?
Yeah.
Nay. Opposed? All opposed? Nay. Who is the nay?
Oh. Chair Randolph, what is your vote?
Yolanda, nay. Can you call the roll, please, so we'll know who says what? The vote.
Okay, Director Gardner,
Yeah. With conditions.
Director Washington, Chair Randolph,
No.
Director Daniels, Director Mack,
Yes.
Director Crick,
No.
Vice Chair Williams.
Yes.
The one thing that I heard, I just want to make sure, I believe I heard, Director Gardner say yay with conditions. I guess it has to be reconciled at some point in time if those conditions aren't met. Your answer, your vote is still yay, even if that condition isn't met, because tonight is.
That's what I was trying to get the approval based on the conditions. That's what I was asking.
Right. Yeah, so.
Because now we're back in the same spot.
Right. So that's all I want to make sure, because your vote is yay, whether or not the conditions are met or not.
If I may, I have conditions also, but I know we're gonna have to do that in a different setting. And my condition is, the majority vote. The super majority vote. So that's something that I'm waiting to, or willing to wait to, see if this board is gonna approve.
So.
Now, my fact that I want this individual to sit in the executive seat is a yes. Now, if we're gonna make the rules going down the road, it's gonna be up to this board, of course, to make, that suggestion on yes or nay. But as of today, being that we have this particular thing on the agenda, and according to the bylaws, this is the only thing that we can address tonight until, we move further into, making other decisions. By having a special meeting or just doing it on the next, CRA meeting, which will be next month. And in terms of with, board director, Gardner want to, move forward. So that'll be two agendas, that'll be two items that'll possibly be on the next agenda that we'll have to make a yes or nay vote on.
And the only issue is that, and I just need some direction from, Board Member Gardner on this. The only issue is that her yay vote is conditioned upon getting those things, and those things don't happen. Then that would give the implication that the votes tonight aren't finalized, but it has to be finalized. whether or not those conditions are met or not, and that's what I have to make sure that I'm.
That you can't, how do you give an offer with conditions that are only set by one director? So what I was trying to get was a majority vote on the offer with those conditions. Because now the offer is just based on that.
You gotta put a motion on the floor with her conditions for offer.
So let me think this through. The way that you can do it is that you could, well, I don't even know if you can do that. What I was gonna say is that the way that you could possibly do it is that you could do the vote with amendments to the condition of hire. But then that presents a potential quandary as to the other votes, where the other conditions with the other candidates that weren't mentioned, that now you may have conditions for them too. So that's why I say if the vote is yay tonight, it should be yay whether or not the conditions are met or not.
So that's what you have.
Right, because in that means that this is not a final vote, but tonight has to be a final vote.
Well,
That's my understanding.
And you just bring those up on the next meeting. That's what you do.
Final plus mine.
Because, and correct me if I'm wrong, the way I'm understanding it, Director Gardner, is that your vote is yes if A and if B. However, based off what you just said, which was my concern, if the opportunity to impose some conditions is only allotted for this candidate or maybe the next candidate because we didn't know that we had the opportunity to impose those conditions for any other candidate, then I don't believe that that's fair. In addition to that, I think that that might potentially affect citizen participation as well, as we know that this is a public forum, so that the public would be noticed that these are the offers based off this condition, et cetera, et cetera. Like we know for example, we know if we offer you the job and you pass the background check, that's a condition that's pretty much generic that everybody pretty much understands. However, if we wanted to impose some conditions for Ms. Bates, or if we wanted to impose some conditions for Ms. Bracy Davis, we weren't necessarily afforded those options, maybe because we didn't know that that was an opportunity that we had to do tonight. So I think that in essence, it does affect the vote, especially if you're saying it's not a finalized vote. And then my question for Director Gardner is, if I understood the way that you articulated it, it sounds like those conditions, while tied directly to this director, could potentially be resolved whether or not this director is in position or not. Is that an accurate understanding? Like if we went with Joe Jonas, would you still be open to those conditions, bringing Main Street back because it is something that could be beneficial, or putting in those additional restrictions because it could be beneficial across the board?
The Main Street condition wouldn't apply to them.
It wouldn't apply to anybody other
Specific to
than.
this particular candidate. I mean, it's the same as if one of the candidates lived in another state and wanted to work remotely, and you said, okay, they can work remotely. It's specific to the candidate. So Main Street wouldn't apply to them. In regards to the criteria for business in the town, I think that should be everyone. And we started a discussion. I was going to ask Mrs. Washington to state if we have that already in place.
So are you talking about having another job? Is that what you're talking about?
Doing consultant work.
So there is already in place under our personnel policy that you have to get permission in
Okay.
order to do any type of outside work other than the town. So that's already established.
Who did
Okay,
that
then.
permission? Is that the council or is that the
It's
individual?
usually because, it's for the employees, it's usually their lead supervisor, so it would be the board who have to approve that.
For each individual agency, like for example, if this was some other agency, then that agency would direct that person whether or not they could give that person permission as to whether or not they could do work in another
They
agency.
would have to list all of their outside employment. And so the board would make that decision on whether they could.
And so I just want to circle back to the Main Street, because I was under the impression that that was a program that other municipalities participated in that wasn't exclusive to Eatonville. I could be thinking
Right.
about the wrong program. So and the reason that I asked that is because let's say that you retract your vote and we run this back and you decide no, is there still not an opportunity to bring Main Street back to Eatonville is my question.
Main Street, oh, listen, Main Street is not going for Eatonville. Main Street is not owned by Eatonville. It's not none of that there. So let's get that understood. It's not Eatonville.
If it is a generic program, if it is a general program, then it would not be tied to any one individual is what I'm asking.
It's a board. It's a board that controls it.
Right, and I heard her
It's like
concerns about the
PEC.
stakeholders, for example.
Right?
Exactly.
Anybody else that have an outside agency that deals with Eatonville.
Right, so-
H87.
But it sounds like those requests are being made as they are tied to this candidate, as they are tied to this individual. If Anya Bates or Meredith Myers was to be selected as the director, are we saying that we don't want to go back to Main Street unless Director Johnson is the director?
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
Let me speak for me. Main Street was created in a collaboration with the town of Eatonville and the CRA. If you look at the Main Street agreement, the town of Eatonville contributed 25,000, the CRA contributed 25,000, and each did that for 3 years. The purpose of doing so was to pay for the director for the CRA, that position, and you had to commit to that for 3 years. After the 3 years, the idea was that Main Street would be its own entity, not attached to either agency. I understand that. But given the uniqueness of Eatonville's Main Street, it would not sit right with me that it's not addressed out. And it should not be an issue. If it was established to help build the town of Eatonville, then I simply want that to continue. The reason I'm asking for the board to go back to what it was with the stakeholders is because when you start dealing with Main Streets, I don't know about the other Main Streets, I'm sorry, Eatonville. Then you're also starting to raise money to do the events and all of that. And what that does, it keeps it straight for everybody. It keeps the questions down. And that is what I'm trying to eliminate what started to happen. The trust should be there. And if we just approach it now and address it now, then it's taken care of. That's what I want. I want to avoid all the innuendos, all the misstatements that could happen, because you have stakeholders on the board.
Okay.
I definitely
That's
get your point,
Thank you.
board member Gardner. But I think we're dealing with apples and oranges at this time because what we have on the agenda tonight, right? It could have been those issues that you're stating now that could have been here as well. That we could have made a vote on it before even moving to even select an executive director. Because my concern is also the majority supersede to be added on there as well in terms of just changing the bylaws, whatever. But I think we don't need to put the cart before the horse. We need to deal with what we're dealing with now and then move on to whatever it is that your concerns are and vote your conviction on it with this board. And I think, if the board see that it's a great program, and it's gonna benefit the town of Eatonville, especially on the CRA side, I think we'll be willing to move forward with making our vote on, doing something beneficial. But I think we need to deal with what's at hand now.
As chairman, may I have a comment, please? This whole process here, we've gone completely off base for the reason that we're here. We talked about Main Street, we talked about this, we talked about that, and I do understand. We're here to vote for a candidate, either it's gonna be yay or nay. If we have conditions for employment for a person, we can work that out after this process is over, whoever he or she may be. So what I heard earlier on the vote, if I'm correct, Ms. King, how many votes did we get, Ms. King? How far did we get? We got 3 nays and how many yays?
For Johnson, there is 4 yes and 3 nays.
Okay, but that's the majority. That's your choice. As a board, that is the choice for the candidate. But tonight, there's no other discussion about who's gonna be the candidate. Now, as far as the conditions and all of that, that has to be worked out after this process is over. let's get this over so we can move on. If we want to talk about this after this election process, we'll open up the floor to talk about that.
Chair Randolph, and for clarity on the vote, one of the 4 yays were based on decision. That's what was put to the vote.
So Attorney Jackson,
Okay.
are you going to draft the letter to the council?
If this board directs me to do so, yes.
I'm asking that. I think that you have a grasp on what I'm asking.
I do.
And I'm asking that you draft the letter. Because otherwise, your vote is, you know what I'm saying? And no one speaks for me but me. No one speaks for me but me. And I'm not saying that, but I need to have it addressed, is what I'm asking.
And this is what I would say, I just want to say that it's going to be a vote of yes, let it be a vote of yes without condition, because what has happened is now you have a candidate who has a condition that no other candidate has.
So then look, it was three, whatever.
So-
Yeah.
I want everyone to be aware that we do have another candidate here that we have to get through this process.
There are no other votes. But go ahead.
Okay.
The motion on the floor has been seconded.
All those in favor of the,
It's already been.
it's already been,
Already
okay.
been. processed.
I mean, technically, the way that it was read earlier is that each person can be subject to a vote. And if there are 2 individuals that end up with 4 yays or with a majority of the vote, then you go to a tie for those 2. So the board is not restricted to just one vote, and that's it. The board can vote for each candidate, yay or nay. So it's not just one vote and you're done.
Okay.
It's for each candidate.
I know we're on the 3rd candidate right now.
Yeah, well, Ms. Myers. We're gonna go on the 4th candidate, Ms. Myers.
I'm saying we're just, okay, so we're done with the 3rd. Now we're on to the 4th.
Right, the motion hasn't gone out yet. Yeah, you're right. Motion didn't go out yet. For the 4th candidate.
No, you still gotta put a motion on the floor for the mayor.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Right.
the 4th candidate,
Yes, ma'am.
yes.
Yeah, I had a comment before we move.
Go ahead.
You have your packet with you? If you don't, you can look up online. You go to, that's 3rd candidate's resume. Remember you said that Edenville Main Street was doing business, and I think this is what Board Member Gardner was talking about. His Florida Community Corporation does business as the Edenville Main Street. So all that money that we was given to him went into his nonprofit. Okay.
That's what we gotta stop doing.
Yeah, that's not.
It's right here, it's right here in the rest, well, that's just, I'm having a conversation.
And we
And
have.
I'm not- and I'm not-
Let's
and I'm
have
not-
a conversation.
and I'm not-
I understand. We can't have a conversation with you.
Just gonna put it, I'm just gonna put it on the floor. The person doing
Just
business
between
as
you two
Florida
now, not the board.
Communication, Florida Community Corporation was doing business as Edenville Main Street. So the monies that was going into Florida Main Street went into his nonprofit. Right here, it's right here in black and white. If you have your resume, it's right here online. So if not, then tell me where the money went then with him being executive director. Tell me where the money that Edenville gave to him, the 25,000.
They never got it.
Twice. Tell me where that money went.
They never got it.
And that's all I had to say for the
Okay.
record.
Well, the check was cut, but you never got the
I
funds.
wanted to put that.
I was here on the board.
Okay, we have.
The check was cut, but the funds never went anywhere because it was locked and secured in the office.
Okay,
That's why.
I would like to go ahead and move this
And
motion.
that would have been a first
Second,
payment.
second.
Okay, now where are we? I'm getting confused
Here.
now. Everybody.
Motion for the 4th candidate.
Okay, motion for the 4th candidate, Mrs. Meredith Myers. Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
It was moved in second. Any questions? All those in favor? You say aye. Any nays?
Nay.
Nay. Okay. Motion carried.
For the record, I have 7-0.
7-0. Okay, so we are. So we are taking the position that the position with, for the executive director is, Mr. Michael Johnson. Is that correct, attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to confirm that is executive director. Okay. Now, the others that I'm gonna open us, everyone settle with that portion. Okay, now, what the conditions, should that be the board's decision on the conditions? Should that be something that we should address later at another time, or when can we address it now or later?
Well, I've heard a couple of different things. Either the executive director is going to be an employee or the executive director is going to be contracted. If it's a contract, then I would help to draft the contract, to have the appropriate language. If it's going to be an employee relationship, then that would come from HR. And I would assist in that regard anyway, or HR.
Okay, all right.
So I think we're dealing with 4 different things right now. The contract, or either employee, and we're dealing with what Ms. Gardner, Director Gardner has stated, and you're dealing with what I stated with supermajority C. So those are 4 different things that are gonna be on the item for us to make a vote on, whether we do a special, which won't make sense, so we can just wait until the next CRA meeting, right, to make those suggestions and passing, yeah, nay. So far, I think it's just the 4 items, other than what you are gonna recommend that, or anybody on this board gonna recommend and put on there moving forward, that, in the stipulation that they wanna, involve also.
No, what we probably need to do is maybe we have a special meeting rather than waiting a whole month to the next meeting. So we'll be sending something out for a special meeting. And if there's anything that you have any concerns or something you would like to be inclusive on that meeting, then you can send those to me, you can send it to the clerk.
But for the record, I just told you what I want, so.
Yeah, and for the record, just so I'm clear in my notes, I have, employee versus contract, supermajority, the Main Street, and Director Gardner, you had a second one.
This contract, what's the contract?
It's as working as an employee, and it's already in our policy. Not to get approval for any contractual work outside the city within the town.
Now, my next question would be this, being that we made our, choice on whoever was gonna be the executive director, which is, seems to me, Mr. Johnson. Well, okay, being that we got all these stipulations, will he start immediately? Or will he start after all the stipulations are there? Like, how would that work?
I think first you gotta set the stipulations.
Yes,
Thank you, Don. You don't want to accept any of the stipulations, then he won't, I think he can, the person agree.
So,
Yeah.
and let me speak to that. I want to speak to, 2 things. As you all recall, Shaniqua Rose was an employee. She was an at-will employee, which means her employment was at the will of the board. So at any time in the board meeting, as you know, her employment could be terminated by the board. I was under the impression that we were still going to do the same thing, that this director would be an employee of the town, under the town, which would, he would abide by company personnel policies, the town's personnel policy and procedures. So he will be an at-will employee. There will be a conditional job offer, and so those conditions will come from the board. Our conditions that the town does, and when we do a conditional offer, we do background check and a drug testing. So the onboarding is dependent on the candidate. I'm not sure the time frame that he has to put into his current position, if he has one. But that is discussed once the conditional job offer is sent to the candidate.
And so if I may, just to make sure I understand you correctly. So when that conditional offer is sent over, we are including said stipulations, or are we sending the offer and then coming back to address the stipulation?
The only stipulation you just stated was one that's already in the policy.
Yeah.
The other stipulations are no stipulations,
Okay,
just preferences because we didn't vote on it as a board.
right. So it wouldn't affect whether or not we could go ahead, and I'm asking so that we don't have to delay the process if we're gonna go ahead and send the offer. Are we going ahead and sending the offer, or do we have to come back and then send the offer? Because I'm pretty sure everybody is ready to get somebody in that position, so.
Yeah.
But if you extend the offer, the only condition you're gonna have is not even a condition, it's already in the policy.
Okay.
The thing that's still not gonna be addressed is Main Street. At all.
Or no.
Because if you give the offer, it's done. That's why I was asking for a vote on it. So it will be a part of the offer that's extended. Otherwise, it's just a preference.
Because before it wasn't, within the stipulations before, thank God for human resources, you know what I'm saying, you do a great job. And, what you do, so I think that's gonna help us out as a board by having her directing, you know, it's gonna, you know, clean anything up. In terms of us doing all these things of coming back and making a vote on this, it's already formatted, it's already within the, guidelines of, it's not gonna be no contract, because she said he's just gonna be an employee of the CRA. So, yeah, we ain't gotta go through that. Right. So that's one thing that we got established. But
And
the
that
other
means
thing-
that, and I'm not saying, I needed to come to a resolution for me. I'm not saying that if it's a flat out no, that I would vote no. But what I am saying is I want it addressed and we come to some sort of agreement. That is what I'm saying, but that's still just me.
And one of the things is that this board can help to set the agenda of the executive director, and that could be a part of it from the board as well. That Main Street be re-engaged, or how the language is, but that could be a condition that this board would like for the executive director to undertake and to continue to move forward.
What if
I think that's gonna be up to this board once we put it on the agenda. You don't even vote it yeah or nay. I think that's what we're gonna have to deal with once that comes before us again. We've already established by hiring a executive director. That's already established. Now what we need to do is whatever situation that we want to deal with as far as the other conditions, we have to put it on the agenda and come back to it, whether we have a special meeting or wait till next month. What's established is already what we was here for originally anyway, which is to actually confirm the executive director, which we had the majority vote to do tonight, and that's done. So whatever else that we're gonna be dealing with moving forward is gonna have to be on the agenda and come back before this board, and then we can pass it, or either not pass it.
All right, so next up is confirmation. Okay, so they can address that.
Next, we will have any staff reports. Okay, Attorney, you have any?
The only thing I just want to say is that during last week, I was watching the radar and saw that there was a band of wind that was hitting the town of Beatville. So I'm very glad that when I came through the town, it was not as bad as I thought it was. Not from last week. And so I'm very glad to see that the town of Beatville is still dancing and still strong. So I just wanted to just express my not the board, but overall the town appears to have done well.
All right, Director Williams, any comments?
My only comment is, as we sit up here and state different things, I'm just gonna say, tell the whole truth. You know what I'm saying? Don't tell what you want people to hear. Tell everything. You know what I mean? We talk about RSM. Tell how RSM came into existence. Tell how it got started. And start from there, then take it on the way you want it to go. That's all, you know what I mean? So we keep saying RSM, but we don't want to tell the whole truth. Why did it come about? Somebody for me, they had to go down there and complain about something for it to come into fruition. But we don't talk about that. You know what I mean? Then the whole RSM, which I was a part of, I saw it. It was far-fetched. That's all I'm gonna say. Somebody got paid outside company from another state, came into the little town looking for something. They didn't get what they were looking for, so they had to give you something. $80,000 they were paid. That's great. They got paid. So you came back with 2 findings. That was fixed. All right, so everything's done. But we keep harping on it. Like I said before, we stay in reverse. them individuals need to go, they need to put it in drive, let's move forward. You know, that's it, I don't, we need to stop there. If you can't put it in drive and move on, you don't need to be up. That's all I got to say.
Director Prince.
I usually don't say much, but tonight I would like to say that, I don't take lightly the privilege that's been bestowed upon me to sit on this board. I take my responsibility on this board very seriously. And, when I go home and I look at my neighbors, I do it with my head up and I do it proudly. And I know that we don't want to keep looking in the rearview mirror, so I'm hoping that this is an opportunity to move forward. And I'm hoping that those pattern behaviors that we've seen in the past on both sides of this agency, being the board and its employees, is a new leap. I'm hoping that we don't continue to see personal agendas, lack of professionalism, all of the drama that we've had to deal with. I am one of the newer members to this board, and so a lot of the things that have been said precede my appointment to this board. So I'm just looking for an opportunity to do something new. And that's what I'm gonna be standing on. And that's what I'm gonna be hoping to see. If I don't see that, then I promise you that I'll address it, and it won't matter whether it's a contract or an employee or an appointment or a board member. Just know that I have a responsibility to our constituents the same way the rest of us do. And I plan to be really responsible with this position. So thank y'all for thinking it not robbery to give me an opportunity to serve my community in this capacity. Thank you.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for just coming out and being engaged and share. We know how important it is with community redevelopment in the town of Beaconville. You know, a lot of municipalities don't have it. We're privileged to have it. I know we're coming up on a contract that is going to consist of us getting an extension, which is going to be very important and vital for this community in terms of just moving forward and turning another leaf to do things that's going to be beneficial for this community. And also, I would just like to give just a big congratulations to all the ones that actually took the time to apply for the executive director position. I think it's in his historic moment. We had like 30 plus people. That's impeccable. You know what I'm saying? And I think that speaks volumes on the direction that we're going as a town, because this is a business, right? And it's two entities within itself, but you can't have the CRA without the town, but you can have the town without the CRA. But we're privileged, and I say that in the most heartening way, to even have a CRA in this community. And I think a lot of times we take a lot of things for granted. And I know everybody's a professional up here. Everybody is, responsible for whatever actions they take. But I think we have a great board up here. I think we're going to do the right thing in terms of just making sure that the CRA is afloat and doing things that's going to be contagious and moving forward. I think we made the right choice by picking this particular individual. And my reason is because I think he's from the town of Beaconville. I felt like he did a sensational job while he was here before being handcuffed. And I think, by him being here now is going to help us out tremendously, because I know he's very knowledgeable of the CRA process, and I don't want to take that away from anybody else that did apply. There was a lot of people, there was a lot of educated people in this process, but did they have the experience? I would say no, other than Miss Bates, maybe, because she served under a different capacity and CRA. But in terms of just getting someone that really knows their craft and gonna do the scope of work that the CRA really need, I think we made the right choice. And congratulations to this individual for getting this position, and all the other candidates. I do appreciate you guys for taking the time and efforts to even try to get this position. So kudos to you guys, salute, and that's my report.
Yes, ma'am. To board member, whichever, duly noted. There will be receipts, there will be a story told, even from down to the construction of a 3-member board when it should have been 5. Even that board wasn't even notice as a board, because it's only 3 members, but it should have been 5. Duly noted that that check was signed with 1 signature, even when our procurement policy said it should be 2. Duly noted that the funds from this Main Street CRA, which not Main Street CRA, but the Main Street money was sent to a individual's nonprofit. Duly noted, I would get those receipts for you. And the story will be told, because I will continue to fight for Edenville. And that's my report.
Director Gardner.
Thank everyone for kind of coming, being engaged. Experience was not the only reason that the candidate received my final vote. I did not want to subject anyone else to the mess that we have put forth. And this particular candidate, knowing what they're stepping into. The other reason is because on day 1, there are certain goals and objectives that need to be met in order for the CRA to be sustained past our sunset. And that's important. And then the third reason is that on the town side, Ms. Mundy has been doing some really heavy lifting. And the knowledge that this CRA director candidate, should they come on board, together is a powerhouse. And I can't see any of the other candidates being able to do that and being able to just bounce off ideas. So there was a lot more, and that is for the good of the town. Because all the other issues is not the town, it was board members. And we do have to keep that personal stuff out. So everyone drive carefully and think.
Director Washington.
Let my granddaughter speak. This is my granddaughter, R&B. Oh, I'm sitting with his granddaughter, so this is R&B right now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Somebody for you, man. At first, I got
This is my first, my son, yeah.
Big talking.
Not the drum for it. But let me get something understood. I think this ride here was a lot better than the last ride, the gentleman. I think that when you enter a hostile environment, it brings tension and a battle, opponent. That's what you are, 2 rams going at it. And I think this guy never had opportunity to do the right thing when he was on the board, when he was up the last time with the old administration. I think he wasn't allowed to talk to people in this building. That's what you gotta understand, the receipts on. He wasn't allowed to talk. He had meetings. He ever stepped in this room for a meeting with the council back then? No. He talked to other developers with anything with even Holstein. Matter of fact, when he first came on board, me and Greg took him down Holstein. He met with Manny. With us 3. Then he met with Manny and Greg personally. And he told Manny he could get him $1.2 million for his building. Manny told him he couldn't talk to him because the mayor code said don't talk to him. Don't talk to him. Period. That's the receipt. And Manny had an attitude with Mr. Johnson because he thought, Mr. Johnson was trying to get some over on it. Mr. Johnson come through. Well, y'all might not think so. He come through, regardless of outside, whatever. And that wasn't outside, and that was a company here, and he did the same with the club. He got the club $1 million. He would have got that place $1.2 million. But when you get hostile environment, when you don't talk to him, when you have a CEO, don't deal with him, it's hard because, like you said, we can build a strong powerhouse together. But when you knocking each other, don't do this, don't do that, don't meet with him, don't talk to him, it's bad. It's real bad. So if you know the story, that's the story. You talk to him, he'll tell you the story. If you haven't, please talk to him about that. He never was allowed in his building. One time he got in the lobby, talking somebody, he was courting somebody in the lobby, and the mayor was trying to go hard on him to get him arrested. For you recording the conversation. It's called hostile environment. You just don't understand. You get locked out of the building. I was the chairman. I didn't say, it was different bylaws. He had let him in after he locked him out, but the man had to go back and let him in because the law. But this kind of thing just got went through. So I think with a different administration, that he come in right at it. I don't think those walls will be set that don't talk to this person, don't talk to the CEO, don't talk to the town clerk, can't get nothing to the town clerk. This kind of thing there. So that's the problem I had. I seen. You write a letter, it don't get to the right people. Next thing you know, they changed the letter. The same letter he wrote, they just changed it. These kind of things happen in this administration. And if we want to, I'm not gonna go into detail of what we need to check on or we want receipts on. But since a lot of things got receipts on, we lost millions of dollars on. So I'm gonna leave it like that at this point. But on that, I'm gonna give y'all a copy of my ethics complaint that was about to check for anything that Councilman Director Gaines keep talking about. I will give y'all that paperwork to show that finding was not found. But other than that, everybody have a good night.
Thank you all very much. First of all, I'd like to thank the board for your participation in this process. I'd like to thank all those candidates that came forward, believing in Eatonville. And even though some of those that was not selected, then it was the board's decision as to who they selected tonight. I'm the type of person that I'm willing to work with anyone. Whether or not I like you or not, you'll find me that my ways and my personality will always be the same. And I will treat you with the most dignity and respect. And this is the way that I feel, even with this candidate. It doesn't make any difference. So when this person comes on board, anything that needs to be turned over to Mr. Johnson, I'll be willing to work with him. So that way we can move forward with this CRA, and we can move the town forward. I would like to say congratulations to him. And also, I want to say that a couple of things, the FRA conference is next week, Tampa. I did sign up to go for that for a couple of days, so I will be away. And I just want you all to be aware, and Mr. Donovan, since you're the vice chair, just kind of get you aware, just kind of keep your eyes open. And also will alert administration, since they're here in the building, that I'll be gone. Most of them already know that I'll be, some of them maybe already be aware of that I'll be gone away. And also, the club, we made a decision today, the artist, the architect rather, we're trying to get a reasonable place to accommodate people. So we're going to have a meeting on the 30th at St. Lawrence at 5:30. We were going to be trying to schedule here twice, but because of the early voting, we don't have space. The library wants us to be complete with everything at 6:30 over there across the street, even though it closes at 7. So we felt like the most comfortable place for extended time would be at the church. Just temporarily, just for that point in time. Also, I just want to say thank you all very much for my time and my effort and things that I wanted to do and I tried to do my very best in overseeing the CRA until we get a director. So I just thank God that we do have someone that we select, whether or not we pleased with it or not. We moving on. Thank you all very much. And if there's no more comments, may God bless everyone. And I call for the adjournment.
So move.
So who was moving second? All those in favor? Aye. Have a good night. 7:30.
Before you disappear. I can only, go far, go back. Don't take them off one tonight. I am.